It's like I'm cosplaying Mr. Stain on Junk Alley, one of my favorite animes that you can watch right here on YouTube. Look it up and you'll see what I mean. Same hat, shorts, everything, but a little bit different with the beard and the hair. Welcome back. Yeah, you're right. So we're just over 16 feet today, and in a few days we'll come into the crest. Yeah, you're right. So let's cruise around and look at some stuff, pick a place to fish. Look at this. This is where I was last time. Don't want to do it today. Not from down there anyway. I actually forgot to throw the sand spikes, the bank sticks, or anything like that in the trailer today. I've got 3 rods of different calibers, some different things to do. Shoot. They fixed the hole, dang it. It's the ferry landing. Look at all the junk in the water. We're just gonna take a quick look. Nice wide open area it appears, but there's bound to be a lot of junk down there. And that's kind of what I'm looking for, is open areas. Maybe we could fish under a cork, but we're also doing some scouting for further things later, right? Other videos. Kind of just cruising around, and eventually we're gonna get something wet. But come on. Well, I just saw what I'm looking for, which is life. I just saw a cat roll on the surface out there. If you study what I'm looking at, you'll notice that everything's kind of stuck in a gyro, going around in a circle out there. And around that, just the outside of that rotation, a cat rolled. So that tells me there's cats right in there. And it also tells me that if I put a cork in that area, it's not gonna go whoop. Because look, very strong current. Obviously, because it's so high and it's full of junk. But if we could just keep a bait going around in a circle, that'd be great. You might be wondering, like, why don't you just put it on the bottom? Extremely snaggy right here. We're going upriver, and we're going through a huge stretch of very snaggy stuff, but there's gonna be fish because there's structure. There's a lot of revetment that's all tore up, and all kinds of junk. Always big fish up in here, but difficult to fish. Got some ducks down here. So one thing I want to point out as I cruise along here, you'll see these big logs stuck in place. That tells you they're on the ground, they're grounded. So pretty shallow between that big log and here. When the river's down a lot more than this, that's all the Batois. About where that log we were looking at is where the Batois ends. Like on average, there's no water up here, right? As I come along, it's gonna get more narrow, and these big logs that are grounded are gonna be closer to us. So that's what I would be walking on if I get out there, is dirt and rocks and other things stuck in the ground, like weeds and vines. So I want to come along here and try to pick the safest place, maybe the best place. I don't know if those two things are going to go together, safe and best. Somebody was cooking. find this worthy of studying. This is the first current seam I've found right up at the levee. On the other side of these willows here is a skinny, long, man-made river pond. I've done a lot of videos there. So the river is over it, over the levee. There's a small rock levee just the other side of the pond, and then we're standing on the proper levee, right? So once once the river drops, I'm looking forward to coming up here. But there's a current seam here, and sometimes you'll find fish in them. That's shallow for sure, but I'll watch it for a second. I wonder where it starts. It's all the way up there somewhere. I think it's more likely to have more fish in it later on, especially at night. I think that's what's up. At night you'll find more fish coming up into spots like this, and most of the spots that I've already visited, they'll be coming up into these spots, up into the willows and the grass, the flooded bachois, because the river shrimp will be up in there later tonight. Shingle Point is what this is called. Would love to fish it if it wasn't so dang snaggy. Lots of revetment, but you can get into deep water here. You can also just repeatedly lose stuff. This is where I turn around, head back, finally pick a spot to fish. All right. Not too far out there. Choosing spots where the current's not going to just rip the cork down river. Too much junk here. One more spot. That river is really trucking out there. At this point, I've tried a couple of spots under the cork, small piece of cut bait. I think after this last try here, we'll just have to call it a scouting video. River's gonna come up to almost 17 feet. And I think fishing under the cork can be successful, but at the spots I have to my access, the spots that I can fish close by, I think I gotta wait till the sun is down for the fish to come up in here. I've put a lot of thought into this already. That's why I'm out here during the daylight, to try these spots, get a feel for them. It's better, easier anyway, to do this in the light of day. Figure out what the problems are going to be. It's harder to figure out those problems when you can't see everything. I can see everything clearly. I can see what the problems are. I already knew what the problems might be. Stuff that's like weeds and woody stuff growing. It's under the water right now. Other debris floating in and out from wakes and the current. And the sheer fact that there's going to be more life up in these shallow bits where I got the bait when it goes dark, because of the grass shrimp coming up in here. All right, I'm gonna head in, get ready for tonight. Thanks for watching my scouting video without any fishing. Well, without catching any fish. But sometimes you got to go scouting, and you don't always catch fish when you're scouting. You're trying to figure stuff out for the real show, the real deal. Yeah, you're right. Lots to figure out, and I think I'm there. Just got to come back when that big fiery ball in the sky is not there. All right. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, being a member of the channel, being a subscriber, and I will see you next time.